Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Tuesday, January 2nd of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful week, a wonderful start to your new year. Let's go ahead and hop into these astrological transits so you can be better prepared to navigate these celestial energies. First off, I'm going to, of course, show you the transit calendar for the month. And as you can see, as far as like today, Tuesday, not really a lot going on. I got the moon entering into Libra, but we're going to take a look at it anyway, see what energies are building up, see what energies are coming together and coming more to fruition. So, but yeah, the main thing today, of course, is that moon will be shifting into Libra. Otherwise, let's go ahead and show you guys the charts as well. So now, as you can see, of course, at the current moment, we do have that moon over there in Virgo, and it will come into Libra. But before it does come into Libra, it's going to be making some aspects. What are those aspects, you're asking? Well, it's going to, of course, oppose Neptune today. It's also going to square over to Mars today as well. So now on the transit calendar, I don't list anything that the moon is making as far as aspects go, just because whenever the moon makes aspects, it's generally pretty quick. But we still have, of course, something to talk about. Of course, like I said, this moon in Virgo, especially starting off a new year, is wanting us to be very, very particular, want us to be very kind of almost like persnickety, kind of like things have to be a certain way in a certain order, right? Of course, though, with its opposition to Neptune, now this Neptune and Pisces has been interesting. Last night I went on a bit of a deep dive with Neptune. And particularly, I was going on a deep dive with like Neptune and in its relationship to Pluto and Uranus and Saturn. And with this Neptune right here, of course, in Pisces, you gotta remember the last time that Neptune was even here in Pisces was the Civil War. So, which is why we're kind of feeling a lot of these energies come up again, a lot of these feelings of potential civil war coming up. And that's the thing about this moon that's in Virgo, like I said, wanting to kind of be very particular, wanting to feel that everything's kind of in order, but it may not necessarily be in order. And when it's opposing Neptune in its home sign of Pisces, this can be like looking at the Wizard of Oz, if you will, and just this moment where it's like, are we going to get so caught up in, I guess, the illusion of things right now? Are we going to get so caught up in like, this could be us wanting things to look a certain way per se, and then we get this big revealment that there's like this wizard that's been like orchestrating things from this other side, and then we base the way that we were organizing our things off of the illusion. And that's going to be the weird part about this. And that's what's involved here with the square too, because it said the moon's going to square over to Mars too. So Mars is this action oriented energy. So it's going to be like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to do something about it? So it's like there's this moment here where I think a lot of people maybe they have organized their life around the illusion, around uh, what they thought life was going to be like, or what society kind of looks like. They organized their life around this whole illusion, but this illusion is starting to break down, right? That's the thing about this. The illusion is starting to break down. So this can cause some frustration, especially when it comes to, hold on, let me move this back to hours, not years, especially when it comes to the point where the moon is going to square Mars, and like I said, Mars over here in Sagittarius, right? This is going to be like, this can cause some inflammatory energy, some inflammatory action, you know, especially considering, the degree 28 degrees 2 plus 8 is 10. So this is more of a earth like kind of energy, right? It's more like a manifestation kind of energy. And if you want to reduce it back to 1 and it's the sun, you can do that as well. But that's the thing about this. You have 2, which is like numerology, is the moon. You have 8, which is Saturn, right? So this is going to be a bit of an emotional square that we experience here, where it's going to be like, wait, what are you talking about? My whole life that I organized was based off of an illusion that this wizard casted on me, or whatever like that. Not just you, but like the entire population, right? What are you talking about? This whole thing was an illusion. Are you sure about that? And then we're going to start to kind of understand and realize these sort of things. Square to Mars is going to be like, well, shit, you know, people are going to want to take some sort of action. Either people are going to like double down on the illusion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, that can't be right. No, no, you're crazy. You're insane. Or they are going to go the other direction, and maybe one is like form a whole new belief system, or be like, oh man, this what's even the freaking point and stuff. You got to find the middle ground. Either, like I said, people are going to either double down or rail so hard against the illusion and get so upset about it, per se. This is where you want to find that middle ground, right? This is where you want to come into yourself. This is where you want to meditate. This is when you want to just chill for a second and be like, okay, you know what? This is all an illusion, or at the very least, we don't have all the information here. Because if we think about it, even from just visible light and what we can see, we only see such a small percent, such like a small percent of the electromagnetic spectrum is what we can see with our two eyes. These two eyes. Third eye can see more, but we only can see such a small amount with these two eyes. So it's not even so much that this is an illusion, it's just that this is such a small piece of the puzzle. And yet we can get so inflamed about this piece of the puzzle. We can get so up in arms about this piece of the puzzle. We can get so enthralled about this piece of the puzzle. We can get so ingrained in this particular piece of the puzzle that we forget that there is so much more out there. This is about seeing the big picture, right? So, in understanding that there is a bigger picture, that there are higher forces, that there are other forces, and it's not just us here. There are other beings, there are other entities. You have a higher self, you have an OG self, right? So, you have guides, right? But that's the thing, is that there's some people that are just completely, they disregard that and be like, no, it's just us. I'm like, but we don't even see that. We don't see a lot. We see such a small amount. Just taking that into consideration about the small amount of the reality that we can even perceive with these two eyes, these five senses. This is why it's important to develop your extra senses and have extra sensory capabilities, which we all have. But for the longest time, these things have been demonized. These things have been suppressed. These things have been forgotten. And that's the thing about this, is that this whole year, really honestly since 2012, but this whole year is, people are going to be, if you notice that every passing year since 2012, more people have been waking up, or more people have been waking up, more people have been waking up to their extrasensory capabilities and realizing that there's a lot more. There's a lot more. They're starting to get the bigger picture, Sag. They're starting to get the bigger picture more and more and more and more. Right? So that's the thing about this. If you are frustrated because you felt like you were on this path and you're expanding your awareness, you're expanding your consciousness, you are tapping into source, you are tapping into your higher self more, and the people around you don't get it, and that can cause some frustrations. You have to allow people to live their journey. You know what I'm saying? You have to allow people to have their own experience. And yeah, it can be frustrating too. But it's something that we have to just simply like, okay, cool. You kind of brush it off, and you have to allow people to grow. You have to allow people to come to their own experience, right? Now, if you're like me, I'm very passionate about this work. I'm very passionate about this stuff, and I love talking about it. But you also don't I also don't want to necessarily just push this on literally everybody that I meet. I'm not talking about astrology to every single person every day. Nah, I'm not doing that. But what I do is like I may put out a broadcast like this, and allow the people that come that resonate to come. And I'm going to start also doing this not just on the internet and behind screens and stuff, but to also do it in physical locations, in different shops and stuff, having different workshops, meeting people and stuff like that. But you have to set yourself up and put yourself in the positions to talk about this stuff if you really are passionate about it, and allow those people to really come into your life that way. But simply just broadcasting it out to like literally every person, you're gonna run into some people that are obviously going to be like, if it comes up for me, it comes up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not just talking about this with every single person, right? Do I want to? Kind of. Not even necessarily yes. Because there's some situations where I'll look at and be like, okay, so the astrology definitely makes sense for this, but even disregarding the astrology, this situation's fucked up, or this situation's freaking awesome, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's just that's just the way that I approach it, anyways. We're gonna see that moon shift into Libra today. Now it's going to be later on in the day. So the moon's going to spend most of the day in Virgo, but around 8:45 p.m., a little bit earlier, I guess you would say, but like 8:30ish, whatever. We're going to see that moon shift into Libra, right? Sun has shifted to 12 degrees of Capricorn, getting ready to square over to Chiron, right? We do have Venus here at 5 degrees, which is coming off of the square to Saturn, and we have Mars here at 28 degrees, right? Of Sagittarius getting ready to shift into Capricorn into its exaltation, which will happen in just a few days' time. So even if I like show you guys this, we have Wednesday, not really a whole lot going on besides the moon being in Libra, making some aspects. On Thursday, you're going to see Mars enter into its exaltation. So, you know, and that's pretty much what I got for you guys today. I think today is going to be a day where, like I said, with this moon, we're really focused on that opposition to Neptune and the square to Mars. And you can almost say that this is pretty much like a T square too, a mutable T square. So, and remember, this is about our perception, right? But the weird thing is that Gemini is not involved. It's Virgo, Pisces, and Sag. So that's the weird thing about it. And Gemini, they are they are the messengers that kind of do reveal the truth a lot of the times, and then but they get a lot of flack for it. You know what I'm saying? They'll get a lot of flack for revealing the truth. Gemini is very slept on. I'm not even gonna lie, but it's like no one takes Gemini very seriously. You know what I mean? And what's interesting too with this whole T square is the fact that Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is in Sagittarius, which it's in its detriment, right? So, and the moon, it squared Mercury pretty much overnight, right? So it's like the moon, it squared Mercury, yeah, pretty much overnight. So dreams might have been pretty interesting, right? But that's the interesting thing about this is that like even though Gemini is not involved in this square, it kind of is because Mercury is not direct finally. And but we gotta remember still though, if we're trying to, Mercury is still technically stationed, you know, it doesn't really come forward until like let's see. Let me so like when the moon comes into Libra, which is gonna be like later on in the day, Mercury is still technically stationed. It's stationed direct, but it's still technically stationed. So even from like a mental standpoint, trying to think our way into a solution, trying to think our way out of things, or trying to, you know, it's already Sagittarius, so Mercury's already having to deal with bigger picture things and philosophies and all that sort of stuff, right? It's gonna be an interesting energy. It's like I said, it's one of those days where we're gonna really be dealing with our perceptions. We're gonna be really dealing with the illusions. We're gonna be really dealing with, you know, yeah, we want things to go a certain way. We want things to have their place, but things, things are kind of shaking up a bit here. admittedly. Things are shaking up a bit here. It's like we think that everything has like its place, but maybe something may work better in another area. It may work a little bit better right there. And we have to be okay with that. We have to be open to receiving those messages, you know? So I think today could be a very positive day, of course. It'll provide some challenges. And, I think once the moon moves into Libra, it may bring a little bit of a lighter energy. But the only other thing about it is that the South Node is there with Libra. So, and the moon will, of course, oppose the North Node in Chiron. But North Node and Chiron to oppose isn't as tough as it opposing Saturn and Neptune. So, you know, I think once that moon comes into Libra, we're going to be wanting to find a little bit more balance and harmony, wanting to kind of feel that as well. So, you know, I really think today is going to be a day about just kind of like checking our perceptions, checking the way that we perceive our reality, and to open up to the bigger and the larger possibilities and not being afraid of them, not running away from them because we are so much stronger than we realize. We're so much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. So don't be afraid of opening up and seeing the big picture today. Don't be afraid of the all the possibilities that are out there, and don't be afraid of your superpowers. Don't be afraid to express them. Don't be afraid to work on them, meditate on them, to expand them. Don't be afraid to do that. You have guides, you have angels that have always been there, and you have an OG self, like your higher self, that you can go to for anything, that you can ask the questions, that you can go to, that you can find solace in. And it's like your own personal magic. It's like your own personal genie, if you will, you know. But this is the kind of information that you know is being suppressed, and powers that be per se don't really want you to know. But I'm telling you that you can do this shit. I'm telling you that you have like your own personal genie, and you can ask your genie for stuff. But you have to be open to perceiving them, and hearing them, and to allowing those messages to come through. The messages are always coming through. It's just whether or not you can actually like intuitively hear them. You know what I mean? So let's get into the cards. Let's see what we got for today. Hey, buddy. Look how cute you are. I love you too. Cat's just laying over here on the side, winking at me. Showing me his belly. You showing me your belly? Mm-hmm. All right. All right, cards for today. Interesting. I think it's interesting that we get this card today. So we have the Hierophant today. We have the Hierophant. That's going to be also followed by, wow, the Wheel of Fortune, right? This is about trusting your own intuition, trusting your own guide, trusting your own uh, spiritual authority. You know what I mean? I felt like so many times we go outside of ourselves. We go outside of ourselves for some sort of authority on how to connect to spirit. And it's like we outsource that power. But if you can connect to your own spiritual authority, realize that you are your own spiritual authority, and you connect with that, then you're good. You're straight. You know what I'm saying? So like this is, I think this is a very positive energy. And that the fortune can be had there. You know, I want to make sure that I also showing my, yeah, okay. Listen, I'm sitting here like, okay, my Roman numerals. I want to make sure that I got that. No, it is the Hierophant. So checking this in real time to make sure I got it. But yeah, this is, like I said, trusting your own spiritual authority, not feeling like you have to outsource it to anyone else, right? And like I said, realizing that the fortune can be there. Like I just told you, didn't I just say that you have like your own personal genie that can grant you wishes and stuff? And then I draw the Wheel of Fortune and the Hierophant card. I just said that. How many times does this happen when I'm making these videos where I'll say something and then the cards literally confirm it? You saw me shuffle these cards too. Bottom of the deck, got the Four of Cups. What I like about this one is that it shows like this individual who's laying down, and then there's like this other sage kind of guy that's over him. That's pretty much. It looks like he's like pretty much speaking to these spirits, if you will, or if anything, maybe he's casting out his apathy. Like, Four Cups. Usually, when I think about it, is someone who's kind of apathetic, someone who's kind of not necessarily lazy, but they're just sitting under the tree. It's like they're constantly philosophizing on life. Is like why or to be or not to be. That's kind of the energy I get with the Four of Cups, and it's going to be like be right or not be, but make a decision. Choose. You know what I'm saying? Like this Four of Cups is like it's sitting here like we're just sitting here pondering and thinking. I could do that thing. I could do that thing. I could do that thing. And your guides are literally giving you your wishes. Your higher self is literally like, okay, here. Okay, here. It's like, are you going to take it? Some of you guys, you've been asking and asking and asking for an answer or a sign to go for the thing that you want, to create the thing that you want, and your guides are giving it to you, and you're just sitting there just flirting with the idea of it instead of actually engaging with it, right? And committing to the idea of it, committing to it, and actually implementing and putting it in some action. So, thus, you have like this individual that's pretty much helping this guy to cast out his fears and his apprehensions and cast out whatever it is that's holding him back, communicating with us. Okay, what do y'all need to tell him? Casting it out, clearing the energy. So today can be a day where we feel like we have to like kind of clear energy a little bit. So maybe light some sage, burn some Palo Santo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe do some clearing, some energy work. It is the beginning of the new year, right? So open some windows, let out the old year, and let in the new year. This is a time where we can clear this energy, but also trust your spiritual authority and realize that your spiritual authority, like I said, is like your own personal genie that will grant you wishes. So ask away. It's like you have like a catalog, and this catalog is like infinite possibilities. You just have to make the decision on what it is that you actually want. And yes, there are a lot of choices here, and sometimes we can get paralyzed by the sheer number of choice that we have. How do you know what to choose? Look within your heart and meditate. And the answer will come to you like that. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. Be sure to check out, of course, that January astrology overview video that I made back in December. I trust that you guys will have a wonderful, blessed day. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.